I got a brand new
What is Farming Simulator 15? It's one of two things. It's either A, an epic journey of sword and sorcery where you're trying to find out who killed your father and destroyed your homeland and smashed a kitten in the face, or it's B, a farming simulator. Shockingly, it's B. I suppose it could take the wacky route of games such as Goat Simulator, but it doesn't. Although there are elements of humour in the game, it's a very straight-laced affair. Although there was a moment where I had to deliver paint to a circus so they could paint a horse so they could get away with the fact they've lost their zebras. The game gives players the choice to harvest various types of crops from wheat to potatoes, and each have their pluses and their negatives. Some take longer to harvest but sell on to much higher prices, whereas some are very quick to harvest but sell for quite little, so you're trying to sell in bulk there. There's some sort of market that happens during the game as well, so you have to keep your eye on the market so you can figure out the best place to go and drop off your crops. It's not just crop farming though that you can do a variety of things. You can chop down trees, you can buy some chickens and just get loads of eggs, which seem to retail for an absolutely ridiculous amount of money, considering I sold 7 eggs for about $68, which, if that was how the egg market went, then would be absolutely doomed. One of the best things about the game is that it doesn't try to throttle you too much. It allows you to speed up the real-time clock if you want to, so you can plough the field, harvest the field and sell it, and then when you've prepped your field again, you don't have to wait 12 hours of real time. You can just sort of crack on with it and speed up for a minute, then wait, then harvest. It helps make everything a bit more efficient. But the problem is, when you do this, it sort of highlights one of the biggest issues I have with Farming Simulator, because obviously you're doing a lot more harvesting, you're doing a lot more transporting of the goods. And when you're transporting the goods, you start to realise that the physics in the game really aren't all that up to scratch. You smash into things and it doesn't really matter. Your crops just stay in the back of your tractor. Cars you hit into just stop. There's no detection stuff in here. There's nothing that makes it feel like there's a threat as you're travelling from A to B. So when you combine this non-threat of travelling from A to B with the fact that you're actually fairly limited in what you can do, the game starts to form quite a few cracks that it never really covers over enough. So you can buy all these types of harvesters and tractors and balers and tree cutters, etc. and so forth, and the longevity of the game will come down to the fact of, do you enjoy this repetition? Do you want to be harvesting these crops? And what is your end goal? Because there isn't really much else to do. Sure, you can buy new land, shinier vehicles, and take on the occasional mission, which adds a bit of personality to the game, but for the most part what you've got here is a farming simulator that feels a bit like a farming simulator light. There are only a few animals you can buy, the world feels like it's hardly lived in, and there's only so many crops you can sell or trees you can cut down before you start thinking, this is actually getting a bit boring, isn't it? But if you're in the sort of mood where you just want to sort of switch off but still play a game, Farming Simulator can be quite good. It's extremely relaxing, extremely therapeutic. I've enjoyed and lost countless hours to it just by harvesting wheat. For some reason I've just grown an addiction to harvesting wheat, and I have enjoyed doing that, and I accept that it's very limited and I accept its flaws, but I've enjoyed it. Multiplayer farming adds a bit more fun to the game and allows you to sort of just be a bit more silly and adds personality to a world that's not populated. It adds people to a world that isn't really populated, despite the few people and cars that you see dotted about the place. But all in all, Farming Simulator is just not fun enough nor polished enough to warrant the £45 launch price tag that it has on the PlayStation 4. This is a solid mid-tier budget game, and it's got a strong base that hopefully the developers continue to build upon in the future. And what the game needs is just feel a bit more like a world, which will make it feel more like a simulator. Add in some physics things, so much like Spin Tires and the other games that have come out that are fairly heartless when it comes to the fact that you've messed something up. If I'm falling off a cliff with crops, I don't expect to be able to A, keep driving, or B, still have my crops to go sell. So if they can make the world feel more populated, either by including more people and more things to do within it, or by adding a sort of AI that fights against you and tries to build a farm where you're building a farm, maybe that would help add variety and more longevity to the game. But it's important to stress the fact that this is a game that can be extremely relaxing and will definitely have its audience. And I imagine on PC it will be modded in ways that will make it a much more enjoyable experience, but it's hard to warrant paying full recommended retail price for this product.